Struggling musician Dennis unwinds at a nightclub with his friends. Usually shy, he tends to avoid places like this and loud crowds, but the cocktails quickly do their job. His friends are already heading home, but Dennis wants to keep partying. Dennis's close friend Olivia even suggests that they move to Berlin together and rent an apartment together for a while. This is his chance to pursue his dreams. Dennis promises to think about it, though he does not look convinced. The guy falls in with a shady group. Fueled by alcohol and something stronger, they break into a stranger's house, start smashing everything in sight, and rummage through the owner's belongings. They also steal cash and electronics they can later sell. None of these troubled young people has a steady job or any real goals. They live one day at a time. All they care about is instant gratification. Meanwhile B, a middle-aged woman, is going through a rough patch. She is in the middle of a divorce, and it is taking a heavy toll on her. Her career is not going particularly well either. B works as a music producer, and lately her projects have often been losing money. B returns late to her empty house and finds it in complete disarray. It is obvious that someone has broken in. Remaining surprisingly calm, she calls 911 to report the burglary. B cannot say exactly what is missing because she is in the middle of moving out. The emergency operator asks several times whether she needs an ambulance. B says she is fine. At first glance there seems to be no one else in the house. The police are already on their way. Suddenly B comes across a drunk Dennis in her own bedroom. The woman starts pummeling the disoriented guy with her fists while he tries to come to his senses and figure out what is happening. Eventually Dennis escapes through the back door. B is too exhausted to make much of a scene. She simply opens the refrigerator and looks for something quick to eat. Then the doorbell rings. It is Dennis who has come back. He is genuinely sorry about what happened. The guy never meant to hurt anyone. When B notices that Dennis is injured, she calmly tells him to go to the bathroom and clean himself up. He does. The police arrive. Instead of turning Dennis over to the officers, B goes against all common sense and says it must have been nothing more than teenage mischief. Still, the officers are concerned because this is not the first incident in the neighborhood, so they would like to look around the house. B has no choice but to let them in. Only when the officers ask if anything is missing does the woman notice that the television is gone. The insurance company will cover the damage only if B goes to the police station the next day and files a report. The woman is too tired, so she decides to think about it in the morning. The officers promise to patrol the street all night. Dennis brings back the stolen television and explains that he does not normally do things like this. The guy simply tagged along with a group he met at the club. B warns him to be careful out on the street if he does not want to run into the patrol officers. Dennis asks B if he can stay the night. The guy promises that he will take the earliest bus. B eventually agrees, then goes to her bedroom and falls asleep instantly, while Dennis settles down on the living room couch. He sleeps so soundly that he misses every bus that morning. Feeling sorry for the young man, B decides not to wake him. Truth be told, she has other things on her mind right now. She has more than enough to deal with. When Dennis finally wakes up, he offers to help B clean up after the previous night's chaos. Gradually the two strike up a conversation. B tells him that she owns a record label. They organize festivals and produce artists. Dennis is amazed. Then the young man gets a call from his mother, who has already started worrying about him. Dennis needs to be home by lunchtime. His t-shirt is dirty, so he asks B to lend him something to wear. The woman not only gives the guy a clean t-shirt but also lets him take a shower. B gets an unexpected visit from Alfonso, her soon-to-be ex-husband, and their daughter Iria, who is in college. They mistake Dennis for a DJ. B and Dennis have to improvise. When Alfonso notices the broken glass, he asks what happened. B brushes it off, saying it was just a group of teenage vandals. Alfonso has been promising to install an alarm system for ages but has never gotten around to it. B invites Dennis to stay for lunch. He has missed his bus anyway. While she cooks, Alfonso tries to discuss their plans for the house. The man intends to sell it, while B does not want to. What is more, she still has not told any of her friends or family about the divorce. B continues to maintain the appearance of a perfect family. Dennis really does make music. He tells them about his plans to move to Berlin with his photographer friend Olivia and make a fresh start. At that moment Dennis truly believes he will go through with it. Suddenly B announces that she will buy the house herself. She owns an apartment, but she does not want to part with the house that holds so many memories. Alfonso does not like the idea, but he suggests discussing it later, not in front of a stranger. Iria sides with her father, but not because the house means nothing to her. The girl simply wants her mother to finally find the strength to move on and start living for herself. She could go out, clear her head, or spend time with friends. B has forgotten what it feels like to live for herself. She is not even sure she can do it anymore. Dennis spends another night at B's house. She does not mind his company at all. They talk about music. B would like to hear Dennis's work. The guy feels self-conscious, convinced that B, who has worked with so many professional musicians, will not think much of his amateur work. Dennis looks through B's record collection. With a sad smile, the woman recalls that her first boyfriend gave her the first record in the collection. They plan to run away together in a van and travel, living as if every day were their last. A lot of time has passed since then. B is not the woman she used to be. Dennis admits that his move to Berlin is still up in the air. In any case, he needs to save some money first. Dennis trained as a translator, so he speaks German. B never would have guessed that he was a translator. She jokes that he is a terrible thief, so she can only hope he is better at his actual profession. It turns out B used to have a band of her own. She was the guitarist. The woman cannot remember the last time she played, although she still has her guitars. Dennis would love to hear her songs. But B does not want to dig up the past and puts on some good old music instead. They both love old songs. B and Dennis start dancing. They get so caught up in it that they pull away from each other only at the last second. A moment longer and they would have kissed. To fill the awkward silence, B goes to get more wine. Then she starts talking about the past again. When she was young, music was everything to her. B and her band moved to Vigo. All they did was play. It was the best time of her life. That was when she met Alfonso. He used to be just as wild as she was. In a way, music brought them together. Dennis says it is better to be alone. He has had only one serious relationship, which lasted 5 years. Since then, Dennis has not let anyone get that close, except Olivia, but they are just friends. He broke up with his only girlfriend long before he started making music. As the wine flows, their conversation becomes increasingly intimate. In the morning they wake up wrapped in each other's arms on the living room couch. He gets up, and as if it were the most natural thing in the world, walks into the neighbor's backyard. Dennis follows her. She dives into their pool. It is crazy, but Dennis joins her without a second thought. The attraction between them is obvious, but B is still fighting herself because she is old enough to be Dennis's mother. The guy has to get to work. He offers to drive him. In the car, Dennis lets her listen to his music for the first time. One of his favorite songs is about learning to let go. B is overcome with emotion. She knows all too well what it feels like to be unable to let go. Dennis works at the port. After dropping him off, the woman walks along the pier and reflects on what her life has become. She suddenly realizes that before meeting Dennis, she had not felt truly alive in years. B simply did what she was supposed to do, going through the motions like most people. Summoning her courage, she calls her best friend, Sol, and admits that she and Alfonso are getting divorced and selling the house. That chapter of her life is now over. At that moment B feels an overwhelming sense of relief, as if a tremendous weight has been lifted from her shoulders. After Dennis finishes work, they meet again. B has spent the entire day away from home because she does not want to go back, and for the first time she is not afraid to admit it to herself. They spend the night together. B feels as if she were 20 again, with her whole life still ahead of her. Then again, there is nothing stopping her from living life to the fullest now. The next morning the woman gives Dennis money so he can move to Berlin and finally pursue his dream. The guy cannot accept it. B is convinced that the only reason he is not in Berlin yet is that he doubts himself. But she believes in him. Dennis could stay if B agreed to produce his music. The woman tells him bluntly that she does not know how to market his work. But in Berlin, people are bound to love his music. As a keepsake, they exchange earrings. That wild and extraordinary weekend has brought B back to life, and she is endlessly grateful to Dennis for that. The woman knows their relationship cannot have a future. Dennis needs someone younger. But they were happy during the days they spent together, and that is what matters. You have to know when to let go. Before leaving, Dennis puts on a record featuring a song by B's band. When she hears it, she cannot help smiling. Dennis vanishes as though he had never been there. But what he leaves behind will stay with B forever. In the final scene, we see her getting ready to move. It is time to move on.